Hello ladies and gentlemen, John Terry is finally back on the wagon and ready to redeem himself. It's been a little while since the last episode. He wasn't quite sold on the idea after the first couple of games, but I told him this was necessary to redeem his reputation. He may not have an international career anymore, but I told him this is what he wants. He wanted to be remembered for being a good player rather than a racist. So anyway, let's get on with today's episode. And look at the team we get matched up against. This is the Goliath of Ultimate Team. Can my ragtag bunch of misfits pull themselves together, work as a unit, and pull off one of the greatest upsets that we will see this year? No, of course not. What were you expecting? Look at his team. Look at the power, quality and pace that's literally scattered throughout this team. Things started badly, but as you can see from the final scoreline, they didn't exactly get much better as the match wore on. This was a match for my defense to forget about and for Terry to put behind him really if he does plan to lead this team to glory. We couldn't have any complaints about being so far behind within half an hour, but why always him? A Balotelli hat-trick within the half hour. And he got his fourth just on the stroke of half-time, as if we needed that psychological blow as well. That's just rubbing salt in the wound. I couldn't quite figure out why my opponent called his team I Hate FUT. He played it in the exact manner that it should be played. Pace on the wing, crossing it in, a willingness to use the through ball over the top that seems to be so popular this year. And even his gamer tag is I'm Sweaty, which should act as a warning, but is exactly how you're supposed to play Ultimate Team, and he proves this by trying it at 4-0 up. Well, at least he's honest. Despite how it looks, my players did try their hardest. We scrapped and we fought for everything, but in the end, the quality just wasn't there. However, we were caught out by pace pretty much. Every time we did manage to get a half break, his defenders would be able to get back, claw their way back into it, and just dispossess us pretty easily. Even though pace has been nullified somewhat by the pullback mechanic, it works doubly against you when you're already a slower team. But we had moxie, and this goal is typical of us. We fought for absolutely everything. Noble Lazarus gets into a bit of space, fights as hard as he can, and manages to tuck home a scrappy goal. So we get the moral victory if nothing else. As the game neared the end, we created a lot more chances and got into a few one-on-one positions, but because of the pace difference between his defence and my attackers, I had to go for an awful lot of long shots. We tested the goalkeeper, but not enough to cause a headache at the end of the day. So all we can do from that game is take a few lessons, take it on the chin, put the cash into the bank and focus on the next game. My minnows were matched up against another pretty decent squad in the next game, but the chemistry on the other side was pretty terrible. I'm not quite sure what he's going for at the moment, but his chemistry's bad, his manager's in the wrong formation and the wrong nationality, so contributing nothing at all. So I was hoping that chemistry would play its part here. We got off to a pretty good start, but Noble Lazarus' shot flashed by the post. My team had clearly put the previous result behind them because they were willing to give it a go, have a cut, backed themselves, and willing to take shots even if the end product didn't pan out as hoped. It was great seeing my attackers playing with confidence and playing with fluidity, and we were testing the goalkeeper, which is always great to see. The real talking point of the game came after 22 minutes. Noble Lazarus charging up the field, spotted a lovely through ball. Both of my players are really enthusiastic to get to it, but eventually one of them took control. As you can see, an awful challenge, and no arguing with that penalty decision. With the game still in the balance, I told Terry, leave it off for the moment. You'll have your chance to redeem yourself from penalties. Sadly, Woodall didn't do a much better job. A pretty shocking penalty, it has to be said. But we continued to play with confidence. A lovely ball from the midfield up to Thomas. But look at the finish! That will make up for any dodgy first touch. We continued to push, hassle the defence, a cross in from Miller, Thomas on the end of it, a great save, but Thomas once again in the right place at the right time. Another weird first touch, but he smashes it home. My defence had hit the training ground after the last match and had tightened up immensely. We tried to make things difficult for ourselves occasionally, but we managed to deal with it in the end. That little display of shenanigans and backheeling was enough for my opponent apparently, although because it's early days and because the EA servers have been so erratic, we can't really point fingers. Thankfully my connection remained intact, we picked up the 3 points, picked up 370 coins as well, and so I would like to ask your advice as to who to buy next. Remember, the only criteria is that they are a black player, because this is John Terry's road to redemption. Thank you very much for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed it and I will try to get out a longer episode next week and also be consistent with the uploads every Sunday on the dot. Follow me on Twitter at Saber0001 to find out about the latest uploads, subscribe to me in the hope that videos will hit your sub boxes, and I will talk to you very soon with another upload.